meeting of the Annapolis Education Commission. My name is Laura Booth. I am the chair and also the Ward 7 representative. We have a very full agenda this evening, and we have Dr. Tobin with us, who has a very limited time constraint. So I'm going to really quickly go through our roll call, and then we will skip to the portion of the agenda that deals with, or that's Joanna's. So if we can just really quickly go through who's present. Ward 1, we have Fish.
Hi, Fish Stark, Ward 1.
Present. All right. Ward 2 is currently vacant. Ward 3 is Enid.
Present.
Ward 4 is Tara.
Present.
Ward 5 is India.
Present.
Okay. Ward 6 is Corey.
Present.
Ward 7 is me. Ward 8 is Jess.
Present.
Okay. At large is Pam.
Present.
Odessa. No. Okay. Grace. No, I did not see her. And Sheila Finlayson is also not present. Okay. We have a couple of guests with us this evening. I see Janet, who has recently departed but is back because, you needed something to do on your Wednesdays. And then we have Robin Clark from Hillsmere. And then
Good evening. Yeah, sorry.
Are you here for public comment or to ask questions of Dr. Tobin?
Yeah, I would love to ask a question. I've been in touch with her by email. I'm new to the Hillsmere board, but I'm quite willing to sit in and just see what you all are up to. Don't mean
Awesome.
to take time that's not on the agenda. So
Okay. All right. Because Dr. Tobin has a time crunch, we're going to really quickly skip to her and let her have as much time as we can, and then we'll get back to our normal business as usual. So thank you, Dr. Tobin, for coming and being with us this evening.
Thank you, as always, for having me. I'm not going to say too much because I think most people are aware of the things going on, and there's nothing in particular, I think, that hasn't been out in the public or discussed. So I know folks have a lot of questions, so I'm going to turn the time over to questions, and happy to answer what I can. And if I can't, I'll get back to you. So.
Okay, folks, you want to put up hands and we'll take them in the order that hands go up. Okay. Robin, would you like to go first? Oops. Oh, you're muted. Can you unmute?
yes. Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask Dr. Tobin if she could elaborate on what's referred to as the neighborhood south of Carrollton Road with regard to the redistricting proposal for inclusion into the Hillsmere Elementary.
So it is included in the map that was put up.
Yeah, I've seen the map. I was just wondering if anyone's really using the names of neighborhoods or just relying on the.
No, we're not really using the names. It really is the demarcations as they've been laid out there. Thank you for your emails. My apologies for not getting back to you. I've been trying to keep up with my email and having minimal success. So apologies for some of the delay. But yeah, we really haven't talked in terms of neighborhoods. It's really the street demarcations that are what is put out for public comment. So
great, thanks. And was the objective of the redistricting, like how would you frame it, to get us to the 80% capacity, or to,
no, I mean, so
was sort of maybe Georgetown East was remaining at the same capacity and then two other schools were going slightly up, or yeah.
So as I laid out, I don't know if you saw the board meeting last week when these were put out, and I tried to lay out in my comments the particulars of why I did this particular amendment. And let me be clear about something, and I hope this was evident in my comments. This amendment is in no way justified on the grounds of overcrowding. Okay. And that is really ultimately what sparks redistricting, right? That we're balancing facilities. I have put this amendment out again for public comment for the reasons that I tried to articulate at the meeting, that we have some issues within the Annapolis cluster of sort of structural and systemic patterns, some strange catchments, various other things that have a lot to do with the history and have left us in a kind of stuck place in terms of getting a healthy portion of the population engaged in the public schools in this cluster. And we've dealt with it in the past by doing things like, for example, putting magnets in Annapolis High, which has been successful, but has led to what we have. We have an overcrowded high school and largely underused elementary and middle schools. And that is not an organic, sustainable pipeline for the city and for the schools of the cluster, because you end up, the 2020 census data, which is quoted in the facilities plan that was presented in June, I guess it was 16th meeting, the 2025 facilities management plan. There's a discussion of each cluster. And if you look there, in the discussion of the Annapolis cluster, you will see that based on the 2020 census, we have 19.4% of the population in the public schools and it is the lowest in the entire county. And as I tried to articulate, this goes to how housing is set up in the city. We have areas with high concentrations of poverty. I did state a fact that is outdated. It was a fact when I was first running. Things have changed. There is more now official public housing in other parts of the county because there has been a shift over to sort of the federal categories of public housing. But at the time I was running in 2019, Annapolis literally had the only full-on public housing in the county. But my point in raising that, even though I misstated the fact at the time, is that we have an extraordinarily high concentrations of poverty in some parts of our city, and we have very high wealth in other parts of the city. And there's this disparate structure that has come about. And so given that this is an historic redistricting, in no one's memory have we ever ultimately redistricted the entire county. I was looking at a situation where we were going to emerge from this redistricting having done basically nothing with regard to the Annapolis cluster, other than having to, because we absolutely have to, address the overcrowding at Annapolis High. And so, as I said, given those issues, I worked many different ways with the staff that I could, figuring out where were places we could shift and move and all of these things. And this was essentially what I could come up with. I knew, I put it out for public comment. I knew there would very well be people who came back and said, that's absolutely the wrong thing to do, which I am here to listen to. And my goal here is not to do harm anywhere, but it is to begin to address this issue. And if it turns out my proposal is not the way to do it, it's not the way to do it. I have no ego in this, but I do think we need to have this conversation. I'll also say I have been a very strong advocate for a long time for things that I believe will support Georgetown East in drawing more folks to that school. If you look at the map, it's, you know, where Tyler Heights and Georgetown East are located. It's weird spacing. It's weird catchments in some ways. But I do think there are things we could and should be doing to support Georgetown East. I'm working with the city right now to see if we can begin to set up aftercare at Georgetown East that Eastport Elementary students could also take advantage of. And the schools are looking at how we can provide a bus from Eastport Elementary to Georgetown East at the end of the school day. Parents would still have to pick their kids up at the end of the day, but kids from Eastport could be transported there. That could be one thing that could support more enrollment in Georgetown East. But the basic problem is Georgetown East is essentially just on the border of being too low in its enrollment to get state funding, to qualify for state funding. So that is a huge issue. And that is why there had to be this domino effect in what I was proposing, which is I've had families talking to me since I was first elected who would like to send their kids to Hillsmere because their kids play with Hillsmere kids in the Powell Park and all of the rest of it in that neighborhood. My thought was, well, if we can bring more people into the public schools, there's plenty of room for those children in Hillsmere. But then the question is, how do we keep Georgetown East from falling too low? Eastport's at 88%. You don't want a Title I community school to go much above 90%. I know people had talked about concerns about space there. So I thought, okay, I will put this out and we will see what the public says. And so that was the reason for it. That's the logic behind it. And now my goal is to hear from as many people as possible. And I've already heard from quite a few. So.
Well, thank you so much for that very thorough response. And I don't have a response back for you from the PTA yet.
Sure.
I'll to them tonight, and I really appreciate the thoroughness of your response and thought behind
and
it.
I'm happy to attend a Hillsmere PTA or any. I'm meeting with the Eastport PTA tomorrow night. Any other PTA, I'm happy to attend any meetings. So feel free to reach out and let me know if you would like me to be there. Thank you.
Janet?
Yes, please. Joanna, I'm confused as to why this issue never came before this commission. As you know, to other people who don't know, I was the chair a year ago before Jess was the chair, and now Laura is the chair. We have talked ad nauseum about the lack of aftercare options for families, driving them out of the public schools. We've talked about many of these things to deaf ears of the city of Annapolis and AACPS. And so this is not a new situation. Perhaps your statement about worries of state funding is something I have not heard before, but I'm curious why this body and this expertise of Annapolis school people who are heavily invested and who defend our schools on a weekly basis have not been involved in the discussion or development of this amendment. And it's painful to go through. And I also don't quite understand why they need to go to Hillsmere. I mean, and it's not going to make that big a difference when you say number of students, increasing the engagement. Well, if you're only moving the school from 79 to 81%, we're doing this for a few families. And when we did this for a few families in other places, it was turned down around the naval station and other military families who didn't have a choice of where they were to live. And if we're not addressing the historic components of St. Mary's, families like to send their kids to St. Mary's like they went to, and all sorts of cultural issues, I don't see the overwhelming reasoning to suddenly disrupt children who have tentative grasp on educational resources as is to suddenly be forming brand new relationships mid-career of their elementary and so many other things. I'm very dismayed that this has come about now. And I'll let the members of the commission talk more, but
Well, it came about now because of the conversations I've heard here and with others. And as I was looking at, okay, what could we do with the staff looking at numbers? This is, again, Janet,
yeah.
I came up with this so that the public could comment on it.
Sure.
Not because I'm wedded to it, not because I'm convinced it's the only way to do it or the way to do it,
Mhm.
but because here was a moment
Mhm.
where there's a possibility that some things could shift.
Mhm.
And it's funny. So I've heard from some people, oh, those neighborhoods that you're potentially putting in from Hillsmere, they're never going to send their kids to public schools.
Oh, they
Then
might.
I've heard, then I've heard from some people actually on the Hillsmere PTA, oh, yes, they will. And we're worried we'll be overcrowded.
Yes, yes.
And so, you know, there's depending on who you talk to, there is a different take on this.
But I don't think it's a deficit of Annapolis High. When I listened to your Board of Ed comment, and it came off as, you know, Annapolis High is deficient in not having all these families in our.
No, it's not about Annapolis High. It's about the community. It's about the fact that when you don't have a lot of people in your community with skin in the game, it's very hard to advocate, to get, I mean, everything you've been doing for years, Janet, right? This isn't about a deficit for Annapolis High at all. This is about what makes for an organic, healthy pipeline that will ultimately strengthen. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if everything were to go the way I would, in a magical world, hope it did, people would be bringing their kids into elementary, would keep them in middle, would send them to Annapolis High, and we would either have to build a massive new wing on Annapolis High or another high school. Okay? Because really, at the end of the day, if we had anything like the population that should be in our schools, we don't have near enough seats for them.
Yeah. Now, in my experience as a Hillsmere Elementary, Annapolis Middle, Annapolis High parent, if you remember, when we had what was perceived to be a inappropriate principal for Hillsmere Elementary, people fled out of the school to Monarch Academy and other places. Yeah. So I think it is more a symptom of that people who have choices, who have economic choices and other choices, don't have confidence in the schools at times because we have not received the amount of communication that we deserve, the professional level of communication. I've always said to people, it's a part-time job getting your kids through AACPS. And it really was because of the level of difficulties and roadblocks put in our way. And I think that's what the school system should be addressing to get the engagement of Annapolis families back into the school system, that don't make our life so difficult at every turn that we hate being public school parents. So I will turn it over to Jess, and she will have much more to say, but I want you to know I see things very, very differently than how you're seeing this example. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Janet.
So I'd like to start with a conception. You stated, again, Anne Arundel County has had public housing for many, many decades. It is not new in the last few years. It is not new since you joined the Board of Education. Anne Arundel County has had public housing for decades. So I don't know why that keeps coming up, but that is incorrect. That it's incorrect that Annapolis City is the only place that has it, and it's incorrect that it's new in Anne Arundel County. We have had public housing in Anne Arundel County.
It's not new. It's the categorization of it has changed. I got information from the council on it. Yes.
To the Housing Authority of Anne Arundel County, and they said that we have had public housing in Anne Arundel County for decades. So that's directly from the people who manage it. So I just want to clarify that. So that's first of all. But the question, did you, before you put forth this proposal, speak to anyone at Eastport Elementary, PTA or staff or parents at Eastport Elementary?
I did not.
Did you speak to anyone at Georgetown East?
No.
Did you speak to anyone at Hillsmere?
No.
So you've only spoken to families who are not currently attending public schools about this proposal prior to putting it
I've
forward?
spoken to a lot of families in a lot of places. And I am sitting here doing what we are all doing as board members, which is looking at the map. Because at the end of the day, that is our job, to sort of look at the whole map and see what's possible here. And so,
right. So I think you're aware that many of us on this board, on the Annapolis Education Commission, who are sworn to be here on this commission by the city, participated in the last redistricting. And in the last redistricting, the lines were very carefully drawn for Eastport, Georgetown East, Tyler Heights, and Hillsmere to specifically create districts that envelop families that were on all sides of the socioeconomic spectrum, all sides of the racial spectrum, and all sides of the cultural spectrum. So to say that the lines that we're working with and that you're looking at come from decades of whatever isn't actually true, because they were all just redrawn in 2017 or 2018, whenever that last redistricting was. And one of the reasons that we did that redistricting, and one of the reasons specifically in Eastport, which is the ward that I represent, and in Ward 8 and in Ward 6, was precisely to help build and create that pipeline. Eastport Elementary is an example of how a school system, together with the parents and the staff and the community, can work to build a school that goes from having no choice in the school to a very diverse community of families who have choice. And that is what has been created at Eastport. And what's ironic that you put forth is that those families that
Jess, we're having a hard time hearing you. Can you move your mouth closer to your mic? There you go.
or try to turn off. I think I'm on my car. So
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah.
So it removes over 50% of the PTA board. It removes families who have chosen, even though it removes a huge swath of our middle class families. It removes a huge swath of our families of all different races and colors and socioeconomic backgrounds, and does exactly the opposite of what you're purporting to want to do. If you want to focus on creating a school that has a pipeline that gets kids into elementary school to middle school and to high school, Eastport Elementary is a perfect example of that happening. Since my son started at that school in 2012, which was right a few years after we had a group of parents who said, we want to make this a community school. We want to make this a neighborhood school. And they had programming, they had events, they called it Yes EES. They tried to get people who were trying to use grandparents' address to send their kids to other schools, to use all different things, and to go to private school. And since that time, every student who has come in, of all of the students who have come into Eastport Elementary since as long as we've been there, which is 2012, except for those who physically moved outside of the district of Eastport, 95% of them continued on through at least fourth grade. And I would say at least 90% of them have continued on into high school. And what's ironic is the majority of those families who started at Eastport and then moved to another district because they were afraid of the middle school, those families are back at Annapolis High School for the magnet programs. So instead of coming up with a proposal without speaking to anyone in the actual school and coming up with a proposal that is going to break up exactly what all of those families and all of our community have worked so hard to create, why not focus on something like putting all, like what we've talked about for years, which is doing better marketing and branding of the fantastic school that Georgetown East is, which is doing better, putting a program into Georgetown East, like we have the IB program at Eastport and Germantown as the IB program, which were put in there precisely to encourage families to come there. I don't understand why you would want to take a whole community of kids who walk to school, who play with their friends, whose parents are involved in the school, and move them with the underlying fairly ugly assumption that they're going to continue to want to attend public schools because you've moved them. Exactly to what Janet was saying, I will tell you that this is not even a part-time job anymore. It's a full-time job to be a public school parent, especially this week and especially today. But doing something like this just erodes the trust that we've worked so hard to build in our families and in our to trust the school system, that the school system is making decisions that are in theirs and their students' best interests. And when things like this happen, it's really hard to turn to a new family that's moved to Eastport and be like, yeah, you should totally go to Anne Arundel County Public Schools, because how can we trust that they're going to make the right decisions for us if they're just going to throw a proposal on the wall and see what sticks, just in case maybe somebody might eventually go to school in an already privileged other area of the city. It is, I don't understand it. And I have to say, I'm really disappointed by the entire process. I'm disappointed by the opaqueness, the lack of transparency. We have all been at all of the redistricting meetings, and for this to come up at the last minute, there's just so many levels of this. And it's not only here, it's also the Will Eleanor proposal. It's also multiple other proposals that have come up at the last minute that just speak to why people don't trust Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and it's a serious problem. And I'm going to make a motion that we do not support this and that we ask you to withdraw this proposal, because it just is not the right thing for our community, any part of our community, and it's not the right thing for our school system.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I guess I'm up. I agree with Jess. I love Georgetown East. It's a fabulous school. I live in a neighborhood that backs up to Georgetown East. I can see it from my living room window. And most of the people on my street send their kids to private school. So I would much rather, instead of trying to falsely redraw lines to force families there, I would much rather see the school system invest in Georgetown East and draw families there. I mean, you have beautiful, sparkling new school over at Hillsmere. You know, it's a lovely, beautiful school. Georgetown East, you can't even figure out where the entrance is because there is literally nothing that says entrance. There are a lot of, I mean, it is a fabulous school. There are amazing teachers, and we have begged for years, put a magnet, do something there that will draw the attention to the families like in my neighborhood, which is not as wealthy as Bay Ridge. But families in the middle are not having that trust, are not wanting to go there. And that redrawing the lines doesn't really fix that in any way. Actually, redrawing the lines the way you've said actually sends the opposite message, that school is so bad that we have to redraw lines to prevent people from going there. And that was my takeaway when I watched the board meeting the other day. And it made me cry. I mean, I thought that was such a horrible message to send to families, that we have to draw lines so that people can get out of going to this school because that school is so bad. And I think that's the wrong message to send.
Let me say something that I think is important. I'm not in the business of assuming I know anybody's motivations. I think that's a very bad way to do things. I have heard from a number of families in Eastport who have talked about the fact that they fully intended to send their kids to private school. And then the Eastport PTA reached out to them and helped them see what a great school Eastport was, but also that this was a community, right? This was something they could see their children being a part of. So, you know, I'm not going to think that I know why they were initially thinking about private school, but I'm very glad that they thought about public school. I have heard very similar comments over the years, from as long as I've been on this board, from some of these families in these communities in the area south of Carrollton Road that's in question. And as you all know, there is no PTA at Georgetown East. There is no organized mechanism that is parent to parent that has been able.
I was secretary of the PTA.
You were
at Georgetown East, yes, and we worked really hard. But the problem is that there was no draw from the school system to really pull kids in. That a magnet program or something like that. I mean, and that's true.
I agree with you. I have been advocating for that. I would love to see a bilingual immersion program go into Georgetown East.
Or
IB. Or both.
IB, any of them. I mean, IB would be great because it feeds into Annapolis.
I've had conversations.
Anything that does something other than the school that AACPS has forgotten about, because that's
I agree.
And is your assumption that the Eastport families would go to Georgetown and then create that there? Because they're not walking, it's not the same.
I am not making any assumption about that. I'm just trying to look at how we begin, given that we have not done what I would hope, and I keep advocating that we do at Georgetown East. We're stuck. We're very stuck in certain ways. And so I'm looking at this redistricting and I'm saying, okay, is there any way through the redistricting process to unstick this? Now, I said what I meant at the beginning. And you characterized it, Janet, as throwing something against the wall. That was not my intent. My intent was to put this out before the public. Not Janet, Jess said that. Put this out before the public, let the public weigh in, and I will listen to what the public says. That's my job. But given that these other things have not been happening, I was looking at it going, well, first of all, Georgetown East is falling dangerously below and is not, if nothing changes, Georgetown East has been limping along. It's a great school, but in terms of its enrollment, it has not been getting the support it needs. And the catchment that it has, for whatever the reason right now, it's not pulling families the way it should, in my opinion, given the quality of the school, given the resources of the school. And so I don't want it to fall below. I don't want it to be in danger of not getting the funding to do precisely what we should be doing at Georgetown East. And so I put this forward. Now, as I said,
I don't understand, though, how this would in any way benefit Georgetown East. I don't see how this proposal in any way benefits Georgetown East. The only thing that this proposal does is benefit the family south of Carrollton Road who would rather go to Hillsmere than go to Georgetown East. I don't see, I'd like to understand what benefit you see this providing to Georgetown East.
My view of this, as I said at the beginning, has to do with what has to happen to strengthen the entire cluster, okay, to get more people into the public schools in Annapolis. That was the way I approached that, because ultimately it's my job to look at the whole, and that is my concern, because it's not healthy for the community when we keep fighting old assumptions about schools, all the things that we know.
So
we fight.
I'd like to put forth, just, and I know your time is limited.
Yeah.
But I would like to put forth this one thing. A few years ago, Eastport Elementary, which, as you know, had a very lucrative fundraising program doing parking for the boat shows. We were able to park for 8 days for the boat shows and raise a substantial amount of money. And we started working in conjunction with the parent group at Georgetown East. And we were able to help them together. We worked together, raise $5,000 for Georgetown East. And we had a plan to move forward so that would continue, so that we would work together and we could use what we were raising at Eastport Elementary to help Georgetown East. And then Anne Arundel County Public Schools came in and shut down our parking program. And then we had to fight to get back a very small amount of what we used to be able to do. But our revenues were more than cut in half. And so we were no longer able to support Georgetown East. That revenue that they made that year, they were able to use to provide some of the things for their families that other schools like Hillsmere and like Eastport Elementary and like West Annapolis and like other schools that have families with resources are able to provide. But because of the actions of Anne Arundel County Public Schools, we could no longer do that. So what I don't understand is why we aren't focusing more on that. We have asked for help getting our parking back, and we have just been told, nope, sorry, we're not interested in looking at anything other than what we've already done. We have asked for the school system to put programs in at Georgetown East. I mean, we've asked just to have open houses and marketing done for Georgetown East, and it isn't done. So I'm finding it really hard, again, to trust that the school system or the Board of Education has any of our best interests in mind with any of this, because all I see is a series of decisions and proposals and plans and non-actions that's just harming exactly what you say you're trying to do, which is to get more people into the public school system, right? Like, if kids can't afford to go on field trips and then the school doesn't offer field trips because the school doesn't have the parent support to provide for those field trips, and the school system is saying no to every single opportunity that's been put out there to raise money to provide for those field trip, then the school's not going to have field trips, and that's really on the school system. And all of these things continue to be on the school system. And then the school system says, well, it's not our fault nobody wants to attend Georgetown East. And how are parents, how are families, how is the community supposed to trust that the school system has our best interests, our students' best interests, the residents of the city of Annapolis' best interest at mind, when these types of decisions, or decisions like moving all of Mills Parole to South River High School, or moving the Apex program to Severn Run, which means that all of the families in Annapolis will no longer be able to participate in after-school activities, sports, and extracurricular things, as well as the Apex program. All of these plans that have been put forth do nothing but harm residents of Annapolis with no benefit, with no seeming benefit. And I just don't understand.
Yeah, since just mentioned Apex, I'm going to ask you again. You and I have talked about this, but I'm going to ask the students at Apex. Apex is one program that is split into 3 pieces. It's split into the piece that is at Annapolis High and the piece that is at Broadneck. The students, all the music related, vocal and instrumental, go to Broadneck. Everybody else, theater, dance, creative writing, visual arts, and digital film and new media, and design and production all go to Annapolis High. Those programs, those students integrate in those schools, during the school day, but they all come together either at the end of the school day at Studio 39 or for part of the school day for juniors and seniors. So the question that was asked is the students at Apex need to collaborate with one another. They come to Studio 39 to use the facilities there, and it's the only place where the program actually comes together. So the students will be continued to use Studio 39 with this move, correct?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
But let me add something, and I do have to go, but let me just add something. I have had long conversations with Christina Catalano, who is the chief academic officer. She oversaw the process of determining that Severn Run would be the alternative should the decision be made. She has said to me that any parent, any Apex parent who has a lot of these specific questions or any questions is free to contact her directly. I can put you in contact with her and you can have a detailed conversation with her because she is the one who oversaw all the details on this.
Right.
And I think it's not that I'm not happy to answer your questions,
I
but
just
I
wanted
think
to
it's important to talk to her.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure that anybody that's watching understands what I'm about to say next. And that is that every day at 3:30, I have an alarm that goes off on my phone. And I clock how long it takes to get from Severn Run to Studio 39.
Mhm.
It's minimum 30 minutes. I mean,
Mhm.
it'll be 25 minutes maybe, but if you clock it again at 3:40, while the kids are on the bus, it's up to 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I've seen it as high as close to 50 minutes.
Mhm.
So we're taking kids that normally have a 10-minute bus ride from Annapolis High to Studio 39, and we are now throwing a half an hour to 40 minutes, 50 minutes of transportation in the middle of that.
Mhm.
That is a lot of time on a bus.
Yes, it is.
Magnet program, given that those kids in the magnet program already ride the bus for an hour or more to get to the magnet in the morning and to get home at night. It's also a huge loss of educational time, both for the students at Annapolis and for the students at Broadneck, because the students at Broadneck are going to be sitting at Studio 39 for those 40 minutes, waiting for the kids from Severn Run to arrive. Once the students get there, they have a very short period of time because we have a hard stop at 5 o'clock, I believe, as far as the teachers' unions, that they can't teach past 5.
Right.
And frankly, I don't think kids should be in school past 5 o'clock.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So now we have a period of time that is so short, it's basically worthless. I mean, if you're doing an art class, there is a certain period of time to get out, all of your materials and get your project out and, and mix up your paints and whatnot. And now you have to put it all away and clean up before you really get a chance to do anything. So this move would really cripple the program.
It is far from ideal.
It is far from ideal. You and I have talked about this, and I understand the redistricting issue. The concern is we want to make space at Annapolis High, and I do think that is a worthy goal, but I don't think you solve one problem by creating other big problems, because then you're just basically sacrificing the Apex students and that program to benefit another group. And that's not, I mean, really, when you redistrict, you're drawing the line, you change the line, but the kids who move from one school to another should, in theory, have access to the same resources. This is not that way at all. These kids are losing a lot. They are now going to be so far away from Severn Run that if they wanted to participate in a sport or even in the spring play, which the kids at Annapolis High were very, very tight scheduled to get from Studio 39 to get back to Annapolis High for the spring play. Now you've got kids that are interested in musical theater. First of all, they have to choose between music and theater because they're at separate schools, but now they can't participate in any musical. They can't participate in clubs and activities that happen in the middle of the day because they're on a bus to go to Studio 39 during the day. You are making these kids, basically, you are sacrificing their entire high school experience for the sake of your redistricting. And I think that is an unhealthy mental health burden to put on these kids. And I think it's terrible for the program. If you really
think the same thing can be said about Mills Parole. All of those same things can be said about moving Mills Parole to South River, because it's all about transportation and timing and access to resources and access to everything else.
Right.
In both of those cases, it's a horrible thing for students.
And this commission has already discussed the Mills Parole, and we disagree with the moving that. But if the Apex program needs to be moved, it needs to be moved as a program, not as a piece of a program. You can't imagine if we said, okay, the IB program, we're going to move part of it. And so for IB math and science is going to take place half an hour away. And actually, you're going to have half an hour less of math class because we're going to put you on a bus in the middle of the day to send you so that you can have this IB program. No parent would accept that. And no administrator would think that that was reasonable. So it's also not reasonable to do this for Apex. If you're going to move Apex, you need to keep it as a unit which means that you need to find a space that's big enough for the students at Broadneck, the students at Annapolis High, and Studio 39, which actually, if you moved it that way and you put them all in one location, it would improve the program. It would be an investment of taxpayer money that actually paid a return rather than a payment that would incur additional cost. So,
well, you know, I'm with you. I think we need a standalone 6th through 12th grade performing and visual arts school. We are the only large district in this state that does not have one.
fine.
Right
Then
now,
find the money to do it.
we cannot, look, Apex is not doing great now in the high school schedule. It isn't.
It's rough, but the kids are.
And I have talked to a number
program.
of families whose kids were serious, and I'm
Yeah.
not dismissing the great work that the instructors, the teachers, everybody does in Apex. But the kids who are serious in many cases about professionally doing this, go to Baltimore School of Performing Arts, go somewhere else. So
and you're
I have
only making
issues.
this worse, and you're only making this move would only.
I
make
agree, but we have an issue right now.
right.
And
I
my
have a
goal,
solution, and I have
my
a
goal
solution.
at the end of the day is to actually fix it down the road. But right
I
now,
love-
we do not have a space where we can put them all. We
Well,
don't.
I'll be interested to see, when did we get the final attendance numbers for Severn Run? Because I'm hearing that that school has a much higher number of students than were forecast. So that's September 30th.
Again,
we get
have
the
a
final numbers.
conversation with Christina Catalano, because the whole discussion very heavily involved Rachel Kennelly, the principal at Severn Run, who was previously the principal at Broadneck. She oversaw Apex at Broadneck. She's very familiar with it. She is very comfortable with having Apex at Severn Run, but talk to Christina, because again, she can get in the weeds with you in a way that I
mean,
don't want to.
You can get in the weeds, but there's no way that any of this really makes sense unless.
Can I just ask for a point of information, just really quickly, Dr. Tobin?
Sure.
Speaking of facilities and management and use, when is the Perkins Eastman study going to be presented to the Board of Education and presented to the public?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
We're
I know
supposed to
it's
be
coming
by
up,
the end
but
of
I've been
September.
told the date, but I can't remember right now. But I will find out.
Because it was supposed to be by the end of September, and that study is going to point to the use of the various all of the buildings
Yep.
in the school system and the plan for the next 10 years. Because what I don't understand is, if capacity is an issue at Annapolis High, and this is going to move just some people, why aren't we looking at replacing? Annapolis High is the only school with 8 portables. It's the most portables in the county. Why aren't we looking at replacing those portables with a new wing that could be built in under the amount of time it is currently scheduled to move the Apex program to Severn Run, if that proposal goes through? And then we can have a freshman wing, and that freshman wing could take care of some of the issues we've discussed about needing a place for freshmen to adjust to high school before they move into the rest of the school. It would address a number of different issues without disrupting so many things, and including communities and the Apex program and everything else.
Alternatively, we could add some cat space at Annapolis High. The blueprint says that
I
we're
am
supposed to
sorry,
be doing-
folks. I have to go.
Thank you.
I am really sorry, but I appreciate everything that you're saying. I know you all. I respect you all. I'm grateful for what you have done for this cluster and what you continue to do for this cluster. My position in this, because of my job, I probably look at this differently than you do. I understand that. But I am trying to do what I think is my job. If I had, the easy way out would have been to have done none of this. I did not want to walk away from this redistricting having not tried to put forth some possibilities and have this conversation, because I think it had to happen. We all know these issues have been around for a long time, but sometimes you have to push it to the point where it's clear to a lot of people who maybe don't pay close attention where we are, what we need, and how we are going to have to proceed. And so I appreciate your feedback. I really, really do. That's not just some elected person saying that. And I'm grateful for everything I'm hearing from the public. That's really important. That is what I wanted. The points coming forth, Jess made them. I've heard them from lots of people about the Eastport community. I get it. I'm not here to do harm. And if there is no benefit here and nothing but harm, I'm not gonna withdraw something until we've had the public hearings, right? I put this out for public hearing. Everybody should have a chance, in my opinion, to weigh in on it. But I did it for all the reasons I said. I want it out there. I want to hear what people have to say. And frankly, I'm starting to get some interesting conversation about, well, what if we did this or what if we did that? Some things from people who are potentially going to be on our city council, who are beginning to understand what's going on, who are saying, gosh, is there something we could do in the city tax code? Is there some, various things that could maybe actually get us where I believe we need to go. So I know this is just disruption just to have the conversation. I understand that. I understand that a lot of people have been very upset about it. It's not my intention to make people's lives miserable. That's not why I did this, but I think sometimes we have to throw some cards up in the air and see what lands and see what holes they show us. And so that's my hope. And as to Annapolis High, we don't have any good choices right now, in my opinion. And I'm sorry about that. And we'll keep forging through this. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. And I appreciate everything you do. So good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Tobin. Okay, that puts us back to our meeting already in progress. Let me pop up the agenda that was sent out, if I can find
If
it.
we want to do motions relating to this, are we doing that later or can we do that now?
But before you lose quorum, in case, if anyone has to jump
All
off
right.
the meeting, as a former chair, tell the chair now, because
Okay.
you can't slip off.
Yes, can we do it now, please? Because I'm trying to write down the notes and everything for the minutes.
All right. All right, we have two motions on the floor. Let me share my screen.
Do you have to adopt the agenda first, Laura?
Yeah, that's what I was originally gonna do. All right, here's our agenda. Hold on a sec.
We don't want them to use anything against us here.
Yes. All right, here is our agenda. We did our roll call. We have vacancies currently in Ward 2 and one at-large position. However, we also need to elect our vice chair. Fish has graciously, sorry, I cannot talk, agreed to step up for the vice chair position. So we will need to very quickly elect him while we have a quorum, unless someone else wants to arm wrestle him for the right.
No. Yay, Fish.
Yes, thank you, Fish. We also have minutes from last month that we need to vote on as well. And we have one letter from public testimony that I wanted to share that I also wanted to discuss with Dr. Tobin, but unfortunately she did not have time. So this is our agenda. Do we have any additions, changes to the agenda? No. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with flexibility and as amended.
Thank you. Any second?
Second.
Thank you. All right. Any objections? Okay, agenda is accepted. All right. So moving right along as quickly as possible. We sent out minutes for August. Did anyone have a chance to look at them? Do you feel comfortable voting on them? No? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from August 27th?
Motion to approve the minutes for August 27th.
Thank you, Fish.
Second.
And you need seconds. Any objections? Minutes are approved. Thank you so much, Corey, for taking care of that. We have a letter for public testimony. We will circle back to that, I guess, since we've already done Joanna, and we will go back into our unfinished business, which is redistricting, and we will deal with, oopsie, I've lost the, I will share the motion. This is one that Jess submitted. The Annapolis Education Commission does not support the Board of Education proposal in BR1 or BR2 move the neighborhood south of Carrollton Road out of the Georgetown East Elementary School catchment into the Hillsmere Elementary School catchment area, moving the area bounded by Jackson Street out of the Eastport Elementary School catchment area into the Georgetown East Elementary catchment area. Annapolis Education Commission has for many years motioned for, requested, and supported creating programming and using marketing and branding to enhance and improve the reputation of Georgetown East Elementary School to those in the Annapolis area and beyond, and continues to support that and hopes that the Board of Education and the school system will put their efforts and budgeting into that and not disrupting and destroying existing neighborhoods, schools, and communities. The Annapolis Education Commission requests that the Board of Education withdraw this proposal. Any discussion?
I
Janet.
lost the last line. Withdraw this proposal and work on the solutions for Georgetown East as addressed above. Sorry.
She's already said she's not going to withdraw this proposal. The proposal's out there, so I would say eliminate this, withdraw this proposal portion.
I agree. It's already there, right?
It's already there. So, but we're going to say we don't agree with it. I would ask that perhaps you put in hopes that the Board of Education and the school system and the city will put their efforts into bringing that, the combination of resources. Because I want the city to be on the hook for supporting Georgetown East as well. My 2 cents.
So that Anne Arundel County Public Schools, Anne Arundel County, so the last line would be the Annapolis Board of Education asks that Anne Arundel County Public Schools, Anne Arundel County, and the city of Annapolis work together to find a solution
Wait,
to,
That's already up the top.
That's already at the top. I think the last
Yeah.
sentence is just wordy repetition.
Delete the last sentence.
this last one? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't say the word destroying because that's just like flamethrower.
yeah, I was trying to come up with a different word, but
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for
I was also at yeah, anyway.
the straw man document that we could all work in. Thank you so much for doing that.
I think you could just say not disrupting existing neighborhood schools and communities.
Yeah.
Or dividing. You
Or
could say disrupting
damaging,
and dividing.
not
Dividing.
What about harming?
You could say harming. I would say disrupting and dividing.
Well, they're going to say that any redistricting always
Yeah, that's
disrupts, divides, but like they will say, but it's to a better or equal place. And we're saying it's not to a better solution. And so that's why I'm saying harming is kind of, you're not
Instead of disrupting.
No, instead of destroying.
harming.
Disrupting and harming is, I think, what she's saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Do you need to read it out? Can Pam and other people hear it?
Yeah, let me read it one more time. The Annapolis Education Commission does not support the Board of Education proposal in BR1 or BR2. Move the neighborhood south of Carrollton Road out of the Georgetown East Elementary School catchment into the Hillsmere Elementary School catchment area, moving the area bounded by Jackson Street out of the Eastport Elementary School catchment area into the Georgetown East Elementary School catchment area. Annapolis Education Commission has, for many years, motioned for, requested, and supported creating programming and using marketing and branding to enhance and improve the reputation of Georgetown East Elementary School to those in the Annapolis area and beyond, and continues to support that and hopes that the Board of Education, the school system, and the city of Annapolis will put their efforts and budgeting into that instead of disrupting and harming existing neighborhoods, schools, and communities.
Mm-hmm. Instead of saying using marketing and branding, I would just say improving communication and openness to enhance the reputation of Georgetown East?
No, I really want them to use marketing and branding. I mean, I chose those words specifically because they actively do not do any marketing or branding of that school, even though they do that of multiple other schools, sending out press releases about the great things that are happening in those schools, and they don't do it for Georgetown East.
Yes, I think they can dismiss marketing and branding more readily. What we really want is their investment. We want their investment in, improving the frontage and their investment in having orientation days where prospective parents can come, and their investment of a magnet school. Like, I don't want certain communication professionals just to say, well, we put up a new sign outside.
Creating programming.
If any,
How about promoting?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. And supported creating.
Supported creating programming, promoting and
improving. What about instead of just creating, improving academic programming?
Well, they
with an IB, we don't say the word magnet, but improving academic programming.
motion for and requested and supported.
Yeah, that's
Creating programming, promoting.
That's an awkward sentence.
Yeah.
The Annapolis Education Commission has for many years advocated strongly for investing in the academic, I
would say supported promoting and creating programming to enhance and improve. Promoting their works, promoting and creating programming to enhance and improve the reputation and attendance of Georgetown East Elementary. I would add attendance.
Okay.
So,
well, don't get it.
Supported promoting and creating programming.
Not attendance, but enrollment, because they're going to say, "Oh, we do attendance."
Right. Yeah. Sorry, enrollment.
Yeah.
And improving enrollment. Wait,
supported. So here it's supported promoting and creating programming to to enhance and improve the reputation and enrollment of Georgetown East Elementary School.
Okay, wait a second. We have a lot of promoting for I take that out. Creating programming.
Is there a more and Fish, I don't know, in your academic pursuits, or Enid or anybody else, Pam, Tara, is there another word besides reputation that can be used to denote quality of a school? Because reputation has this outsider view that's not necessarily based in evidence.
Perception of, enthusiasm for, community interest in. I think that those, I agree, reputation is noted.
I like perception of, because we know the interior quality, but the perception of.
A thought I have, and I don't want to wordsmith this to death, but I would name specific, like I thought, like when we talked specifically about, and this seemed to be a point of agreement with Joanna, when we talked about things like an IB or a bilingual program, I think naming examples of specific types of programming that we mean, it's not just, we don't just want, obviously the school system will say they're committed to improving academics in every school. We want them to invest in the school with a dedicated program that differentiates it and is a draw for families.
Yes, creating dedicated programming.
I don't like the word programming.
Huh?
I don't like the word programming.
Yeah. Why can't we say magnet?
We can.
Yeah.
Well, we don't necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to be a magnet. So, like the IB programs at Georgetown and I mean Germantown and Eastport are not magnet programs.
Right.
They are just programming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but programming has a generic sense.
Is there a
I
better
mean,
word?
because the other option could be adding more pre-K. You know, there's like other programming. I mean,
Right.
programming is generic for that reason, right? Because we don't want to limit it to, we want you to put a STEM magnet program in there, right? We want the school system to look at it and pay the same amount of attention to Georgetown East as it does to other schools in other parts of the county, and provide the same amount of resources and not knowledge, but
Mhm, mhm.
you know, provide and give the same amount of time and energy to coming up with something that enhances what's already there, right? What I really want to make clear is that Georgetown East is a phenomenal school. Anything that we're requesting, or I feel that anything that we're requesting, it's not because we're requesting it because we need something better there. We just need a carrot, if that makes any, like the same way that you took Eastport Elementary and made it an IB school with a PYP program, took Germantown, made it an IB school with the PYP program and arts integration, so that it took an already amazing school and then just added something extra that encouraged parents to take another look when they were trying to figure out where to send their children, right? And also provided something extra for the students. It's a really great program. You know.
Another word for promotion. We want them to add programming, and then we also want them to add
I
marketing.
mean, I want them to promote and market the school. That's the thing. And they don't do it. They
adding
they
dedicated
actively
time.
don't do it.
Excuse me, but that has always been the problem. Odessa, I'm sorry, guys, I came in late.
Hi,
apologize.
Odessa.
Yeah, but that has always been the problem with the Annapolis area schools to market to, them to make them,
Welcoming.
yeah, right. It's always been that problem. Can I just say something real quick? 35 years ago, when my kids were at Millsboro Elementary, Rhonda Pendale Charles knocked on my door because they had planned on closing down Millsboro. They were going to close down that school because they didn't have enough students to be in the school. Fast forward, when I talk to my boys and other people, they want to know what has happened that has caused the black population has just dissipated. I mean, they all up in Brooklyn and Glen Burnie. So, but Annapolis schools have always had the problem of making it appealing to, let's say, the white people.
Mhm.
So when they didn't anticipate, I guess, the Hispanic population, because they were going to close down Millsboro. Now all these elementary schools are overcrowded. So how can you make it more appealing when I think the general thinking is these schools are mostly Hispanic and low-income blacks? And to me, I have to be realistic. How can you make it appealing?
With
I
a
think,
magnet
Odessa,
program in community.
sorry.
Yeah.
I think, Odessa, part of the problem is that for a very long time, we had people in the administration who were content to let that perception of Anne Arundel County, of Annapolis City Schools lie. They were happy to do that. In fact, there was an APF meeting in 2020 where Alex Zaknovich said there was a new PFO at the time, a new planning and zoning person at the time at the APF meeting, which is the adequate public facilities meeting. So the county was having an adequate public facilities meeting, and the new planning and zoning person said, well, what about, all of these kids in the Annapolis cluster and elsewhere, particularly in the Annapolis cluster, who go to private schools? And Alex Zaknovich's response was, and this is a quote, "We love our private school partners, and if parents want to send their kids there, we're good with it." That was a quote from our school system's
I remember
chief
it.
operating officer in 2020. And so that was the mindset that our school system worked with for numbers of years. And it's really hard to come back from that. And that's what needs to happen here. And that's why I think one of the reasons that I'm so frustrated by this proposal, and because when you have a school that has worked so hard to go against that mindset, and then to have the Board of Ed just say, you know what, we don't actually care. We're just going to break that up and move things, and not in a way to benefit the other school. The plan that's being put forth isn't like, okay, well, we're going to do this, but it makes sense because it's going to be a huge benefit to Georgetown East. If it was going to be a huge benefit to Georgetown East, that would be one thing. And we'd be looking at it differently. But this is not a huge benefit to Georgetown East. And Georgetown East has always had this marketing problem ever since they had a bad principal 30 years ago who no one has ever been able to get over, apparently, even though they've had phenomenal principals since then. So I think, and Laura, just so you know, I edited the thing and I sent it through again, with a little bit more word, this proposal this motion that I put forward. And this is a joint motion from wards 8 and from ward 6, just FYI, it's from Corey and I both.
Enid has,
yes,
but because both ward 8 and ward 6 are affected by this motion, by this proposal.
Can we, okay, and it says the marketing and branding to increase enrollment and raise perception. Can we say a positive perception? Because perception can be anything. And just a positive perception of Georgetown East Elementary School, period. I mean, to those in Annapolis, it doesn't matter, period, to raise that positive.
So in the edited one that I put forth, it says create programming, supported promoting and creating programming to enhance and improve the perception of opportunities at and enrollment of Georgetown East Elementary School, so that it is that positive.
Okay,
right. But that's a different. Wait a second. Hang on a second. We're working in two different documents, Jess. I've got something up on the screen in front of me, and now you're saying something that's different. Can we work? I emailed
you my edited.
I know, but I can't look at that at the same time. Can you work with what we've got here and show me what you want changed on this one? The first sentence, I think, is just the same thing, which is just what areas, the whole movement of areas. So the second we have, right now what we have is the Annapolis Education Commission has for many years advocated for adding dedicated programming and improving the marketing and branding to increase enrollment and raise positive perception of Georgetown East Elementary School. And I agree with Enid. I think we don't need the rest of this. Period. We continue to support that and hope that the Board of Education, the school system, and the city of Annapolis will put their efforts and budgeting into that instead of disrupting and harming existing neighborhood schools and communities.
The change that I made was, for many years, motioned for, requested. I can't see your screen because I'm on my phone.
I know, but it was also very wordy, so we were trying to.
No, I know. I'm reading. It's the same. Okay. Supported promoting and creating programming to enhance and improve the perception of opportunities at and enrollment of Georgetown East Elementary School.
To run on.
Yeah, I think what we have is good, except for it says and put their efforts and budgeting into that. Isn't it this?
Okay, we continue to support this.
Yeah. Instead of disrupting and harming, I think it's like could we say dividing existing neighborhood schools and communities?
Well, no, because the point of redistricting is to divide existing situations into new situations.
I honestly think we should just make it just disrupting.
Right, okay, and disrupting. Yeah, because that takes into all of it.
Yeah.
Well, but
the only thing that I wanted to add was opportunities, because that's what.
Wait, you got to go one at a time. All right, Des.
The word that I wanted to include was opportunities, because that's, I think, part of not only perception and enrollment, but it's also the opportunities. The programming creates opportunities, right? We were talking about why, and so if we improve the perception, opportunities, and enrollment, that was the only word. I mean, that was really the main change that I made, was adding the word opportunities between perception and enrollment.
We have increased enrollment and raised positive perception right now. So you want to say increase enrollment.
Wait, no, I don't think, so what I had said, I don't remember, where did the positive, to enhance and improve, I was trying to make it less wordy, to enhance and
Yeah.
improve
Okay, well,
the
what we have,
perception,
They don't care about the
opportunities, and
words.
enrollment.
yeah, I think this is good because I think this is, you have a lot of words and there's a lot of ideas, but what happens is when the sentence gets too long,
It
it's
gets
hard to
long.
figure out. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's
Right,
harder
that's
to
why I was
figure out what's
taking
going
out
on.
some of the words.
Before, it seems like have you all had any discussion with people in the Hillsmere, Georgetown East, Eastport Elementary parents, or is this because of your experience? I know you
I
all
have had
are,
extensive communications with families in all 3 schools.
and they are totally against it because of this.
There are a lot of
These parents that go to private school or that attend Anne Arundel public schools.
I've spoken with families that attend Anne Arundel public schools.
Do we have reason to believe Joanna is correct that some families that are currently choosing private school would move their kids into Hillsmere if this change was made?
Sure, they would. Some would. Some would.
Yeah, we do. And we also should know that the Hillsmere families, some of the Hillsmere families that I've spoken with have a serious concern about that because depending on how many, right, Hillsmere doesn't have a lot of space to get a whole bunch of families in, which again is why it's better to focus on if the issue at hand, as stated by Joanna and other people, is the enrollment and the enrollment at Georgetown East, then what we should be doing is focusing on the enrollment at Georgetown East and not on moving people out of the Georgetown East catchment area who don't even, moving areas out of the Georgetown East area for students for families that don't even send their kids to public school yet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. These are long-standing school district areas. It's not like it changed, 4 years ago and people can't adjust. People have chosen their houses in certain school districts, and I don't think they should get to cherry pick what school they want to now attend that they didn't buy a house in. That's my perception.
I mean, there's also just the whole aspect of rewarding people who basically say we don't want to go to the school because it's too poor and too brown, and so we don't want our kids to go there. And I find that offensive on so many levels.
Well, that's the way it has been.
I know.
Well, that's why we want the school to invest in.
And
school
there's
system.
like that tipping point. You need something to get to that tipping point. Like, I think all of our schools, could be, because of just the way Annapolis is laid out. You've got $1,000,000 waterfront homes or multi-million-dollar waterfront homes. You go in one block, you've got a suburb, you go in another block and you've got public housing. I mean, that's just the way all of Annapolis is. So I think very easily our schools could go one way or the other, where people who have the haves can say, my kid's not going to go there. But in schools where we've made an investment, we have seen, like, Hillsmere is one of those schools where the neighborhood was like, nope, we're taking this school and this is our school. And the parents pour time and energy into it. And it's a wonderful environment as a result. And so we need to encourage parents to do that, not reward parents who have refused to make that.
And I think for those of us who have been in this process for a long time, you can see that, and I don't want to get into pitting people against people or neighborhood against neighborhood, because I don't think that that's what we should be doing as a community is trying to.
Yeah, it sends the message that this school is good and that school is bad, and I just think that that's wrong. India has her hand up. India.
Just say, as someone who has been involved in our Annapolis public schools longer than some of our commission
resources were put in to the school.
Yes, quiet.
The most active school in our cluster for multiple generations will only support the rumors and myths of our schools. instead of debunking them or eliminating the systemic racism from those rumors.
I missed a part of that. Lord, could you paraphrase what you said?
India, can you repeat that? Sorry, I was talking.
I will just say, as someone who has been involved in our Annapolis public schools longer than some of our commission members have been alive, including at Hillsmere, feeding into Hillsmere, the most active school in our cluster for multiple generations, will only support the rumors and myths of our schools, instead of debunking them or eliminating the systemic racism from those rumors.
Yes.
I completely agree. And that's what I was saying. And I think that we can use the examples of Eastport and Germantown and what has happened and how it's changed over the last, yes, we are, how it has changed over the last number of years since the IB programs and the arts integration programs were put in at the two schools as a perfect example of what can happen when the school system does invest in the school, and when the school system works with the community that it surrounds the school to create a stronger community. And that's what needs to happen. And that's really what I would like to focus on. And that's what I was trying to focus on with the resolution that I put forth, and that Corey and I is what we want to focus on, is that the school system needs to put resources into Georgetown East, and all the rest of this is just external, and it's just meant to divide and create issues and division and further, exactly as India said, the racism and systemic issues that we have. So that's what I'm really trying to focus with on this resolution is what can we as the Annapolis Education Commission ask the school system to do with Georgetown East to make people realize what a phenomenal school it is, what a great opportunity it is, and how can we as a community as a whole work to help Georgetown East get a better reputation than the undeserved bad reputation that it has.
Yep.
Okay, you just added Georgetown Elementary again. It's already at the end of
No,
the
I was actually trying to reorganize the sentence, because I think what you said was the key word in what Jessica said was investing. And I think we need to put that in. The Education Commission has for many years advocating for investing in Georgetown East Elementary School. That's really what we wanted.
Yeah.
And I actually think we could almost just say period, just because investing in Georgetown Elementary School, and then we could say adding dedicated programming, improving the marketing and branding.
But you don't have
and
colon after investing in Georgetown East Elementary School, colon.
Okay, colon, adding and improving this. Well, okay, that's what I was doing. All right.
Okay, good enough. I think we should vote.
Okay.
And the vote can say we will clean
Well,
up.
we want them to add programming. We want them to improve the marketing and branding. And what else do we want them to? We want them to.
It's not a laundry list. It's a statement of intent.
Yeah, but I'm saying it works better in a set of three. It's like there's
no, short and sweet.
Well, you need to either put and raise a positive perception or to raise positive perception. Something's missing here.
That's in there.
I know it's. And branded to increase enrollment and raise positive perception of Georgetown East. It should be raise a positive or raise positive perceptions.
Perceptions.
Right. Something.
Can we say? And wait, what was the word that I had used in the actual?
Oh, okay. It's 7:30. I think we need to.
Can we say improve the perception instead of raise positive? Improve the perception. I think that's a better.
Okay.
So the Annapolis Education Commission has for many years advocated for investing in Georgetown East Elementary School by adding dedicated programming and improving the marketing and branding to increase enrollment and improve the perception of Georgetown East Elementary School. We continue to support this and hope that the Board of Education, the school system, and the City of Annapolis will put their efforts and budgeting into this instead of disrupting existing neighborhoods, schools, and communities.
Good.
Can we just change the word hope to
Palmer at
request?
the neighborhood.
No. Jesus.
What? Why can't we change the word hope to request? I would like to request. I don't want to just hope. I've been hoping for a long time. I would like to request.
Okay. All right.
Palmer at the neighborhood. Oh, are you saying existing neighborhood schools? Oh, never mind.
Just a point of clarification, are we voting on this as two separate resolutions? One,
No,
two.
this is all one. This
Got it.
piece is all one. I broke it into 2 paragraphs because it was easier for my eyes. I feel like when you give people a giant block of text, they tend to.
Cool. And no worries. I was going to suggest bifurcating it, but also, yeah, it's Jess's resolution, so Jess's rules.
All right. Are we okay with the vote?
Yep.
Going once, going twice. All right. Roll call order. Do we have a motion? Jess has made this motion. Do we have a second?
I
Second.
second.
Corey.
All right. Corey
Well,
seconded.
I have a question because
Okay.
previously on the commission, if you weren't replaced by someone and your term expired, you were still considered a member of the commission. Do we know about that? Like, can I vote for this also?
You know what?
It doesn't matter.
We'll let you vote last. I don't think it'll make a difference, but I don't think you'll be the tiebreaker, but all right. I do have a text message. Pam, who is having phone difficulties, says, I vote yes for Jess's motion/resolution. So thank you, Pam. So let's just go on roll call order. Fish. Oops, Fish.
Yes.
Enid.
Yes.
Tara.
Yes.
India.
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Me. I vote yes. Jess.
Yes.
Okay, Pam voted yes. Odessa.
Yes.
Grace is not here, and neither is Sheila. Okay,
Hold
Janet.
on. I have a question. So was I the one that seconded the motion, or?
Yeah, I think you did.
Okay, because I need to make sure for the minutes, because I need to
Yes. Yes. All right. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, you've
All right.
already got 9. I don't need to vote.
Yeah.
You're good. 9-0 unanimously.
Yeah, we're unanimous. Okay, awesome. All right. The second motion that I wanted to bring here, all right, there's some feedback from Jess here, but all right, the Annapolis Education Commission does not support moving the Apex Arts Magnet Program currently located at Annapolis High School away from its current proximity to Studio 39 and Broadneck High School. The Apex Arts Magnet Program is a single program divided over 3 locations: Annapolis High School, Broadneck High School, and Studio 39. Utilizing shared space at Studio 39 for collaborative arts activities is a cornerstone of the program. Moving students at one school away from the other portions of the program will result in an unacceptable loss of Apex instructional time and collaboration opportunities for all students, as well as decreased opportunities for Apex students to participate in clubs or activities outside of Apex at their new school. If the Apex students at Annapolis High School must be moved, then we urge ACPS to move all portions of the Apex program to a single location to reduce instead of increase student transportation time and costs. In addition, we ask that all students who are currently enrolled at Apex at Annapolis High School be given the opportunity to remain at AHS for the remainder of their high school career and be permitted to utilize AHS IB magnet buses for daily transportation. Unlike other redistricting, this is the motion I proposed. The rationale is unlike other redistricting options where seniors get to stay in the school that they're in if they want. This program, moving a magnet program, doesn't work that way. So if a kid from Broadneck is down at Annapolis for the visual arts program and the program gets moved to Severn Run, that student has 2 choices. They can go to Severn Run for their senior year as a new student, or they can go back to their home school. They drop out of the magnet, which would be Broadneck. In neither case do they get to actually stay at the school where they have been for 3 years and have made a lot of connections. So I think that's an unfair that is unfair for the Apex students compared to other students who are being redistricted because they do not have the opportunity to participate. In other schools, they say that they will not provide transportation because it would be a problem. There's no bus anymore going from that neighborhood to a new school. So typically when we grandfather students, we don't provide transportation. But in this case, we do still have buses because the IB program at A High remains. So students still will be getting on buses at all the various magnet locations to come to Annapolis for the IB program. So there really are no additional transportation costs by asking for students to have transportation. So, all right, Janet.
I would, friendly amendment, request if you would consider removing the portion that says, we urge ASAPS to move all portions to a single location. That is just going to kill it in the Annapolis cluster because they will, I don't want to jump down the line and do that. And then they say, well, we moved it to Southern High School that's always been under enrolled. And you said you wanted it in one location.
Well, honestly,
Nope.
Janet, I would be honest.
I would not give them that option. You don't have to lay out every single.
I don't necessarily want them to keep it at A High if there's a better solution. I am willing to consider that there is a better solution. And frankly, a better solution is bringing all three pieces to one location, whatever that location may be, would be better for the program. Right now, parents complain.
We're advocating for the students of the Annapolis cluster, and we want this opportunity to remain for the students of the Annapolis cluster, even if it's bifurcated.
I agree with Janet, and I was going to suggest the same thing.
We do not want our Annapolis cluster students who are already under-resourced to lose this opportunity. You know, if you're not.
And also, I haven't spoken with enough families to find out whether moving to a single location is something that everybody wants. Like that, I don't feel
Well,
like
I will tell you, one of the things that, as an Apex parent, the number one thing that parents in the Apex program complain about is either the bus not running from the bus being late and not getting from one location to Studio 39, and the fact that they miss out on Panther 30 by the juniors and seniors go to Apex or go to Studio 39. The Apex students go to Studio 39 every other day, their junior and senior year, and they go during Panther 30. So because they have to be transported during that period, they miss that block of time. It is the single biggest thing that Apex parents at A High complain about.
Laura,
So-
I recognize that. I've been at
So-
APEC. I mean, I understand that. And I think that those are problems that we should advocate for solving through better transportation and through giving Annapolis high school students the same hour that other schools in the school system have, because I think there's inequities that lie in there.
Well,
But
they would still
agree
lose the
that I
time,
can't
though.
vote on this with the move. I can't vote on this with the moving to the single
Okay.
location because I can't. I haven't done the research
Well,
and
then
spoken to enough.
my problem
families.
is they're going to put it through, and so if they do push it through, if we don't have that, then this last one I think is really important because I think it's really
I
cruel.
100% agree with that last one.
I do, but I don't think it makes sense if we. I don't think it makes as much sense because up here we're saying we don't want you to move it, and then down here we're saying, oh, and you should grandfather them because which makes it sound like then it's okay that we move it.
No, we're just recognizing that we don't have the decision-making power. But if they overrule our wishes, then we say.
Right. Should the superintendent's recommendation be enacted, we ask, in addition, we ask that all students.
Should option.
Yeah, you can tweak that.
What's the name of the option on there? Was it BR? What was that, Jess?
I think it's S.
We know what you mean. Odessa has her hand up too.
Oh, okay, Odessa, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about the route. Has there been a traffic study? Because 97 is very congested.
It's horrible. And that's what I was trying to say to Joanna. Every single day, I have an alarm on my phone. Every single day, my alarm goes off, and all I do is I screenshot, and I have a whole bunch of them. I screenshot the time to get from Severn Run to Studio 39. And every day it is 29, 30 minutes, and sometimes it's low. It's like 40 or 45. And so it's just not. superintendent's second proposal. All right.
It's not students.
It's SR-2 in the on the page. SR dash.
So should
It's
propose.
not a safe route. That's what I'm concerned about. I go up Crownsville way. I take the back way up there, to Millersville.
Yeah, and I've done it with Waze and stuff, and it's never there is no secret passageway that makes that possible. And I just think it's a tremendous loss of classroom time, and it's a tremendous burden to place on kids to have like an hour-long magnet bus in the morning, a 40-minute in the afternoon, and then get back on the bus, in the evening. It's horrible to put that on kids, and it's like 200 kids that are being punished because Annapolis High School is overcrowded. Like it's not their fault. Why are they being tortured as a result?
Okay.
All
Right, you're gonna.
All right. So the portion of the Apex program currently housed. Okay. Yeah. So SR-2 should proposal SR-2 be enacted. All right. The Annapolis Education Commission does not support moving the Apex or its magnet program currently located at Annapolis High School away from its current proximity to Studio 39 and Broadneck High School. The Apex Arts Magnet program is a single program divided over 3 locations, Annapolis High School, Broadneck High School, and Studio 39. Utilizing shared space at Studio 39 for collaborative arts activities is a cornerstone of the program. Moving students at one school away from the other portions of the program will result in an unacceptable loss of Apex instructional time and collaboration opportunities for all students, as well as decreased opportunities for the Apex students to participate in clubs or activities outside of Apex at their new school. Should proposal SR-2 be enacted, we ask that all students who are currently enrolled in Apex at Annapolis High School be given the opportunity to remain at AHS for the remainder of their high school career and be permitted to utilize AHS IB magnet buses for daily transportation. All right. Any other comments, changes, amendments?
Well, I'm still concerned about the safety on 97, but I don't know.
They bus kids up and down 97 all day long for all sorts of things. So unfortunately, but it's the worst. Around here, rush hour starts at 3:30. So it is literally, and the 97-50 interchange is literally the worst traffic in the county. So saying that, we're going to put kids on a bus and send them through that every day and just hope that that bus gets there exactly on time is a fantasy that I just don't understand why we're all willing to participate in.
Should we add something in this motion that requests that the full recommendation be sent out, the explicit full recommendation be sent out to all families or, to all people in the school system? Because, not only was the information about Severn Run not communicated adequately, but also if you go to the website, it says the website it's an example of opaqueness. It's an example of opacity because it says it has some information and then it says the above bulleted lists are not exhaustive. A document containing all student movements in the recommendations can be found here and a chart can be found on page 19. Well, that document, first of all, you have to know to click here. It doesn't say click here. It just says can be found here and is a red line, which is not a standard color for a clickable link. But also that document is a PDF and not all people, I don't know why we keep having to have this conversation, but not all people can open PDFs. And so using PDFs to convey information that is so vitally important about where a student might attend school, whether it's because they're in Apex or whether it's because they're at Mills Parole or any of the other schools that are affected in here, to me seems inherently non-transparent. Like that information should be on an easy to access web page, not a PDF, and not something that has to be downloaded. And it should be right on that main page, not, hey, here's some information, but also we've hid some other stuff in this other document that if you find the other document and you open it, you might find.
Yeah. Yes, I totally agree. We are running low on time. So we do have a couple more things that we want to get through. So I just want to, is this okay to vote on this? Yes, no? All right, I will make this motion. Does somebody want a second?
I second.
Thank you, Corey. All right.
Sorry, I'm trying to read it.
Do you need me to read the whole thing again, or are we good? Yes, no?
I think it's good.
All right. Let's do roll call order again. All right. Starting with Ward 1, Fish. Oops. Did Fish drop off?
Sorry, did you hear me? Sorry, yes.
Thanks. All right. Sorry, I can't hear anybody. All right. Ward 3, Enid.
Yes.
Ward 4, Tara.
Yes.
Ward 5, India.
Yes.
Ward 6, Corey.
Yes.
Ward 7 is me. I vote yes. Ward 8, Jess.
Yes.
Pam. Let me see.
Yes.
Oops. Oh, good. Thank you. Odessa.
Yes.
And then Grace and Sheila are not here. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very, very much. All right. That covers that. Let's go back. We did have, that covers redistricting. We are almost out of time. So I have, I'm going to suggest that we postpone approval of the minutes until, oh no, do we vote on the minutes? We voted on the minutes. We're good. All right. We do have we had public testimony, and then we have, which I want to read a letter from Cassie Heckman. But just really quickly, our new business. Next month, we're having an Annapolis High Night. We've invited the new community schools program manager, Jared Marino. We have Tanisha McNeil, who is the head of the coordinator for the signature program. We have Sylvanie Johnson, who is the CTE coordinator, and then we have two folks from the Arundel, the career coaches who are from the Arundel Anne Arundel Workforce Development Corporation, who are all going to come and give us sort of like one talk about what we're doing to help students at Annapolis High who may not necessarily know where they're going after graduation. So I've invited them all at once so that we get to see their faces and we can find out what else we need to what else we can do to help signal boost some of the programs that are there. So that's one. Next, we have our meeting.
Laura, before
Yes.
you go on, can we
Yes.
get these proposals sent to us so we don't have to try and copy it now?
Oh yeah. No, I'll send this out as soon as we
Okay,
get done.
thank
Yeah,
you.
no,
And
absolutely.
what night was that called at Annapolis High, the first one?
It's next month. It's our meeting next month. They're all coming here. Mhm.
Oh, to our meeting. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. So I think I just
Okay.
thought it would be really good to get everybody in the room so that we can see their faces, find out what's going on at Annapolis High, and figure out how we can either plug city resources in to help them, or how we can steer kids in our communities there. And the other thing we need to do is we need to talk about our meeting dates for November and December, because we are running into the Thanksgiving holiday and the Christmas holiday. Working around the school board calendar, November 12th and December 10th are both days where there are no school board meetings on Wednesday, and those are dates that work with the city. So does anyone have any objections to moving our November meeting to the 12th and the December meeting to the 10th?
I motion that we move the two meetings to those dates.
Okay, great. Second?
Second.
Second. Oh.
Lots of seconds. All right, Fish gets it. All right. Any opposed? Okay, those meetings will be rescheduled. The last thing that I
Can you give
wanted,
us Laura, I'm sorry. You said
Yeah.
the two dates so fast. November what?
12th. It's 2 weeks before our normal meeting
what
for
was
both
the
of
other
them. So
one?
December 10th, and I will also send out the dates and the motions. And then the last thing was we had some, and I wanted to get Joanna, but she had to leave. We had a letter that came in for public testimony from Cassie Heckman at Hillsmere Elementary School. And she said that she had sent this email in April and did not get a response. But the there's a short one in a version. I will send the longer version, but the shorter one is that they have 60 kids on a waiting list for pre-K at Hillsmere, mostly made up of tier 2 applicants. The county eliminated 20 spots at their school. Hillsmere has always had 2 pre-K classrooms and is now down to 1. The classroom sits dark and empty while our children are denied services they desperately need. Apparently, they had one room they were using for pre-K 3 and one they were using for pre-K 4. And they eliminated one of the ones, the pre-K 3 program across the county. So now they have not filled that by offering a pre-K class, despite the fact that they have the space for it. So there's a longer letter. I will send that out to you as well. And I did not know if we wanted to talk about it this month. I know we're out of time, or we want to talk about this for next month and maybe putting forth a motion to say that we urge AACPS to add a second.
Can we ask AACPS to provide us reasoning for, and I'd like to add to that, can we ask them to provide us reasoning for why that classroom is closed and what the options are for adding additional pre-K to Georgetown East? If we have a under capacity issue at Georgetown East and we have 60 plus people on the waiting list for pre-K, why aren't we utilizing that for the time being, that space for the time being? Why aren't we? That's the question.
Does this actually, my question would be, when in the past, if you had to apply because we didn't have pre-K at every school, you had to apply, you would apply to like any school, even if it wasn't your home school. So I wonder if they don't necessarily, like each program is sort of treated separately, so they wouldn't necessarily offer you a seat at another school, if you applied.
No, that's not I think the 60 plus that are on the waiting list are not just from Hillsmere.
Okay.
I mean, that would be a lot of kids at Hillsmere.
Okay, then we will send that question off to AACPS, see if we can get some more information so that we can talk about it next month. All right, perfect. All right.
I have my own public testimony, not as a commission member, but just as a mom in the public school system.
Okay.
Today, because as most of you probably know, there was a shooting incident in this side of Annapolis near Tyler Heights Elementary. It was not at Tyler Heights. Well, I don't know, actually, because no information has been sent out unless it came out while I was in this meeting. And I haven't been paying attention to social media while I've been in this meeting. But no information was sent out. The schools were put on lockdown. As soon as AACPS sent information out before even the city sent information out, and then the city tried to blame AACPS for why the information from the city came out later. The city never sent a final information saying the situation has been resolved, the communities are safe. There was just a total communication breakdown. Normally, I will say that my experience with Annapolis Middle School was that they sent out the information as soon as they had it. And they sent out information at the end of the day saying we are still on a modified secure, but students are going to be released and they're going to be going to their, whatever it is, all the different things. But as a whole, between both the city of Annapolis, and since we are a city commission, I'm speaking to that in particular, between the city of Annapolis, and the school system, it was not a great experience. Multiple people heard gunshots, within a community, a fairly densely populated community. And again, once information was sent out from the city and from the police department, then that was it. There was no other information that was sent. Is everything safe? Are the kids safe? Is anyone hurt? Right? No follow-up information. And so I just am really exhausted by the communication from the city and the communication. And because in this case, it directly affected the schools, all of the schools in the city, all of the schools in the cluster, except for Annapolis High School, because it's so far away. We're on secure, which is not the same as lockdown. It's a different type of thing. And it was problematic. And I just, for
So
those
what?
of you who don't have kids, I wanted you to know, but
Yeah,
it was,
I heard. Yeah, someone called me of all people, and told me that all the schools were on lockdown except Annapolis High. But when I called and called Annapolis High, the girl didn't know anything about it. So I mean, was there a shooting or what?
right. So Annapolis High wasn't on lockdown. That was the thing. No one was on lockdown. They were on, well, I don't know if Tyler Heights was on lockdown, but all the other schools were on secure. From what I understand, I don't know because no information has come out from the city. I don't know the answer to that, Odessa. I don't know whether there was a shooting. I know there was concerns of a shooting. I heard multiple different rumors about what might have happened. But given where we are in the world right now, it was a major failure on behalf of the city and the police department and OEM, and then for them to blame that somehow on the school system made it all seem even worse and weirder.
I got all my information from my ring.
Oh, I have a thought. I feel like I feel like maybe the school system feels like, maybe it won't happen to us or something, because are we not afraid of certain things happening to the school system? I feel like the powers that be, the people, maybe we aren't afraid. Maybe they not really worried about it. And that's unfair.
I agree. So I just wanted to put that out there. I think it's something that I don't know how we discuss it, but I agree, Corey. I think the police department just sort of feels like, well, you live here, you just have to deal with it. I guess. I don't know. I don't know why.
I was frustrated that the school system didn't send the all clear out. Like, I don't know when it seemed like a really long time between the all clear and the initial.
I'm not clear that the police department sent out an all clear, so I think that may have been why the school system did not send out an all clear. So the information that we got from the school system was that they were on a modified secure until it was finished. I mean, until they left school, right? So until they left school. But the police department sent something out at 12:20 saying that at 10:58 there was a report of shots fired, and that's all that the police department has put out through their notification app. They haven't put out anything since then.
Yeah, I can't even find. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Check your ring.
Also, Laura, just an FYI, I did send another motion if we can address it. I don't know if I sent it a while ago, but your email.
Where did you send it to me or to the commission?
I sent it to everybody on that email chain.
All right.
With the written motion.
I'm sorry, I did not see that. I'm not tracking real well. All right.
It follows along with what we've discussed regarding everything. I mean, I can just read it out loud to you while you're looking for it.
Well, yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh, all right. Oh, you just sent it to me. It looks like. All right, here we go. This is motion number 2. Okay, no, that's fine. Hang on, let me all right, hold on 1 second. And I will find the document that had the motions. Let me share my screen. Okay, and our last motion of the evening is the Annapolis Education Commission requests that Anne Arundel County Public Schools, Anne Arundel County, and the City of Annapolis work together, find a solution for removing the portables at Annapolis High School and replacing them with a new wing to address the capacity and other issues faced by the school. All right, any comment or?
I mean, we know that this all has to do with budgeting and getting the money to do it. So, I mean, is it really that they work together to find a solution? I mean, we know it's all about the dollar.
But they were able to find a solution to replace Severna Park High School. Like, there are plenty of developers who are looking for, there's a word that I'm not thinking of. Janet, what's the word within the APF when you want to build something, but you're not allowed to, so you get there's a a word.
Some sort of waiver or some other.
Right. There are, that's the thing. There are solutions out there. There are plenty of ways that they can figure this out. They've been able to figure it out for multiple other schools in the school system and for multiple other schools in the school system. And they haven't been for Annapolis High School. And we have more portables than anyone else. And I mean, I understand, but I understand that maybe it's pie in the sky, but I also think that I would like to go on the record saying that we've requested this because, you know, that we've asked them to do this because it's beyond time for them to do this. It's beyond past time. We keep moving people here and moving people there and moving Mills Parole here and moving Apex there isn't solving the long-term problem, which is that we have kids going to 8 portables, which is not safe. It's not secure. It is, it causes all sorts of issues. You know, the kids are one of the reasons that the kids have Panther 30 versus Panther Hour is because so many kids leave the property, supposedly because so many kids leave the property, and giving them only 30 minutes makes that less happen. But part of the reason that kids are moving in and out of the property all the time is because they're moving in and out of 8 portables all day long, right? There's all this sort of insecurity and instability that happens. And no other school in the county has that many portables. So I think it's, you know, long past time for us for us as an education commission to say to all 3 of those entities, figure out the solution, find the way to do it, find a developer, find a builder, find a grant, find the money.
Okay, Jess, are you relating this to redistricting? Is this why this is coming up now?
Yes, it is part of redistricting. Yeah, because of.
Okay,
the
then I would
capacity issue.
explicitly state that. And from my understanding of capacity, those portables are not being counted in the capacity rating of Annapolis High.
Right.
Right. So, so maybe we don't have as much of a capacity problem if those seats were counted and they were official seats within a wing. Right.
Good point.
Yeah, great point.
Sorry. Oh, I was gonna say, can I say, you know, I'm 40 years old, and I remember going to portables when I was in elementary school. That's so funny to me.
And all the schools they've tried to move out the portables. We used to have one at Eastport, and they built a new wing, and they've done it at multiple other high schools.
Oh yeah, they had what, 5? They had 5 out of at Hillsmere, and then Hillsmere got a new school. So you're right. Why is it that, you know, we're moving kids out of schools when other schools have had a lot of portables? They've done some construction, but at Annapolis High they have not.
Maybe say, in light of the discussions on redistricting and capacity at Annapolis High School.
In light of the current redistricting efforts.
Yeah.
But so are you all talking about minus 200 kids in the Apex program? Minus 200?
Yeah, minus 200.
Okay, so what would be the number of students at Annapolis High minus 200?
About 2,000.
But they might continue to go to Annapolis High and just
Yeah.
not use Apex.
There are 243 students in Apex, of which 25%, I believe, was the percentage that came from Annapolis High. They didn't have an exact number on the screen during the presentation. I took a picture of the slide. Hang on.
So is that going to solve the over capacity?
For about 5 minutes. For about 5 minutes. Not really, but it makes it look like here it is. 23%, I'm sorry, 23% of the students come from the Annapolis High School cluster. There are 243 students, and 23%, like a quarter of the program, comes from. So about 60 kids come from Annapolis High. And yeah, most of those kids would want to stay at Annapolis High. I'm concerned about the kids who don't want to go to Severn Run, but also don't want to go back to their whatever their zoned high school is. That's especially seniors. Like, like my daughter will be a senior the year this is enacted, and most of the visual arts class are kids that went to Brooklyn Park for middle school, so they are out of area students. Some of them may choose to go to Severn Run, but some of them at that point as seniors may wish to stay at the school that they've been at. Like I know one of the kids in there is really active on our swim team and may choose to stay here so that he can continue to compete on the same swim team, that he has for 4 years. My daughter runs cross country. She is not leaving our cross country team.
But my question is the reason for moving the program out of the magnet program out of Annapolis High is to solve the overcrowdedness. Is that the purpose? Okay, but is that going to solve it? Just 100 some kids leaving?
No, that's the point, that it won't necessarily solve it because we don't know how many kids will leave. We don't, that's a shot in the dark. So it won't necessarily solve it. But what we do know is there are about 200 seats in those portables, and that's in the portables that are portables. So if you build a building there, then ostensibly you could make even more than 200 seats in that building.
Yes.
Well, it doesn't add up to me. I thought we were trying to solve the capacity issue, and that's not going to solve it. So why mess with it?
Right, and if New Valley Academy does get their permissions to open, then that alone will be more kids moving out of Annapolis High School than we would move out with if everybody moved out during the Apex program. So. I mean, I think
it was like 150 for, I asked Romy that.
NVA will be, I'm on the advisory board for NVA. Okay. It'll be 150 at full capacity, and not all those kids will come from the Annapolis catchment area. I think it'll help, and it should absolutely open for many other reasons, but that's also not going to be a panacea.
Yeah, I did ask Romy at one point exactly how many kids, and I believe, I don't have it in front of me, but I think she said it was 100 kids. It was 100 kids from our cluster. Let me see if I can find the exact number.
I know last year my daughter was one of the ones that was supposed to be accepted to go to the, if everything would have worked out, she would have been going to New Village Academy, when they opened this year, I guess, or the fall or whatever. She would have been one of the ones going to the school.
Yeah, they had 109 students fully enrolled and 60 more on the waiting list. Annapolis feeder students were 55%. So she said they had 70 plus farm students, 55% Black, 30 Hispanic, and 20% special ed.
It was exciting. Like my daughter was my daughter, she's not really, she doesn't really like school like that, but she was really into wanting to go there, so it was definitely a letdown for her when it didn't work out.
It's going to be great when it gets up and running. The whole thing that happened with the mall and the financing was such a shame, but it'll help. I've got a question related to this. I think absolutely it should, a new wing is better than the other options on the table. So I have no problem supporting the motion, but do we have a sense, like, I'm trying to figure out whether we think it's worth our time to try and start now talking to Lisa, talking to Stuart, talking to James Kitchen so that we're prepared to make a big push during budget season and say we want an increase to the school capital budget to fund a wing at Annapolis High. If the school capital budget increased, where would this sit on the list of priorities? Because what I wouldn't want is for us to start getting ready and gin up people to go to a bunch of meetings and advocate for more school capital funds, only for those to then be used for projects outside of the Annapolis cluster. Do we have
I think that's the Perkins Eastman study that Jess was talking about earlier. It's the whole facilities plan. Basically, it prioritizes the projects, and that is supposed to. We were told it was supposed to come out in September, and now we're hearing October. At some point, the school board will get a presentation, and it'll be, many 100-page document that goes through each school and explains where schools are in the need to be replaced.
Okay, so that'll give us a good sense of whether advocacy efforts might actually result in money for a new wing or whether it'll be yelling.
Right.
And it might, but I just feel like this is something that we should just start. We've talked about it a lot, but I would like to make a motion to get it so that it's actually out there that we're saying, so that, if a developer comes to the city of Annapolis and says, look, I want to build this, and they say, well, Annapolis High School is closed, so you can't build this. But if you were to mitigate, that's the word, mitigate. If you were to mitigate by providing funding towards, because Annapolis High School is closed. So if Annapolis High School is closed and you can't build, but if you were to provide funding to mitigate, and that funding can go towards building, which is exactly how Severna Park got their new school 10 years ago, was because there was a developer who wanted to build in an area where the APF and the county said, no, you can't build here. And the mitigation effect was, okay, well, what if we give the money to building a new Severna Park High School? And they said, fine, that's fine. That works. That mitigates the issue. And Severna Park gets a new high school and the developer got to build the development.
Here in Annapolis, they've done the exact opposite. They've declared that, what's the area, the parole area? What's the term for it?
Growth area, right.
Yeah, it's a growth area, which basically means you can build whatever you want and we don't care if the schools are overcrowded.
Right. But that's again why I want to get this on the table. And I want, our motion sent to all three of the entities to say, look, you need to do this. Like, this needs to be a priority for you, and you need to have the wing put in.
Okay.
That's sort of why, not sort of, that's why.
All right. All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
The only thing in terms of when I was reading it just now, everyone, before we vote on it, should we put in like within the next 3 years or within the next 5 years or some sort of timeline? If they could just say,
in a timely fashion. We request that they work together in a timely fashion.
Justice Louis Brandeis used to say, with all deliberate speed. That's
right.
Quick.
I'm fine with that.
I have a question. Since we have a couple of different motions, can I just, in the minutes, can I put like motions in a
I'll send them to you. There'll be motion number 1, motion number 2, and motion number 3.
And I can have them in a separate thing. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
And just as edification, it's part of the discussion thing. Meade High School had 10 portables until this year when they got their new addition. So this is not an unheard of thing. And thank you to Kara Ekman McCandless for continuing to support Annapolis High School. So do we want to say like sorry, I'm just reading it. I was like, request that the work together in a timely fashion, with all deliberate speed. Okay, gotcha.
I liked it. All right. I'll read it one last time. In light of the current redistricting efforts, the Annapolis Education Commission requests that the Anne Arundel County Public Schools, Anne Arundel County, and the City of Annapolis work together with all deliberate speed to find a solution for replacing the portables at Annapolis High School with a new wing to address the capacity and other issues faced by the school. And I think this motion needs to be sent then to both the Board of Education and our friends on the County Council.
Alice. Oh, sorry.
Oops. All right.
Sorry.
Shall we do a roll call vote? It is after 8 o'clock. So do we do a roll call vote? All right.
Yes.
Word 1 is Fish.
Yes.
Word 3 or 2 is vacant. Word 3 is Enid.
Yes.
Word 4 is Tara.
Yes.
Word 5 is India.
Yes.
Word 6 is Corey. Oops, Corey.
Yes.
Word 7 is me. Yes. Word 8 is Jessica.
Yes.
At large, we have Pam. Oops, Pam. Let me check and see if she sent.
I vote yes.
Thank you. Odessa?
Yes.
Okay, and then Grace is not here. All right, wonderful. So that is, oh, thank you. I saw your Pam. All right, so that motion carries. Thank you very much. I think that gets us through, unless we've missed something else, that gets us through to the end of our agenda. I thank you for your patience. That was a lot this evening. These are big issues and big
Laura, did we ever vote on the vice chair appointment, or was that?
No, we didn't. We didn't vote on Fish. Okay.
Unanimous consent.
Great. All right. One last vote, folks, for the record. We would like to officially nominate Fish Stark for the vice chair position. I don't think, do we have to a motion for that?
I motion that Fish be the vice chair.
Second?
Thank you, Fish.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Okay. We had Tara and India. All right. Awesome. Ward 1, Fish.
Yes.
I can't change your mind now. Ward 3,
You have to
Enid.
make a call like that, Laura. Just raise your hand or something.
All right. Any
It should be
objections?
individual.
Any objections? No. Well, whether you like it or not, motion carries. Thank you, Fish. All right, let me stop sharing. Thank you all for your patience. I appreciate it. I will send out the motions that we passed and send our questions to AACPS and our motions to the school system and the county. Yes, I will take care of all of that. Thank you all. Anyone out? That was our closest thing. Any new business? Anything else that we need to? I didn't get any community announcements this month. So, anything else that anybody wants to bring up real quick? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Everybody's excited. Any objections? Crickets.